So I began using this innovation for a few different reasons. I was noticing that students weren't picking up certain concepts that we had gone over in lecture or in office hours. And even when I could see that they were writing things down or even nodding along, when it came time for assessments or when they were asking questions in office hours, it was clear there were still a few really big sticking points in some of the more like kind of complicated concepts that we were going through. Ultimately, my goal with this innovation was to kind of reduce the time kind of spent in a more passive learning mode. I wanted to avoid the situation where the student would think, well, like, oh, because the instructor said something, I understand it. So I wanted to create an opportunity where we could figure out what the student know and didn't know, and then I could adjust my instruction to help alleviate some of those pain points later on. The way this innovation works is it's a think, pair, share, but you have 2 rounds of polling. So I present a question to the class, and then during the think portion, instead of just thinking silently to themselves, they go through a round of voting, which helps to kind of lock in an answer and give them a starting point for the discussion. Then they have the pair component where they talk about what they responded, why they responded, and try to figure out the answer together in small groups around the classroom. And then we go through the second round of voting where they're given an opportunity to update their answer. And then we have the share component, which is where we have students share out to the entire classroom what their reasoning was and what answer they chose, so that we can figure out as a class what the right answer is. You want to find a method of polling that works for you and feels comfortable. In my classroom, we've been using clicker cards, but I think whatever polling you decide to use, I think it's really helpful when the polling is actually anonymous. You can even just do this by having students raise their hands for different answers, but have the students close their eyes so that they're not influenced by other people voting, or they don't feel pressure to vote a certain way because they're afraid of looking wrong. So reflecting on this innovation, I think it does what I was hoping it would do. First, it helps the student to really engage within the think part of think, pair, share. They have to lock in an answer and really commit to it. I find that students now have a really good starting point for discussing with their peers, even if it's just, hey, I chose this answer of the multiple choice ones. And finally, and this was kind of a surprise to me, I think it really helps the share component when we're all kind of sharing how students voted to the entire class, because students are able to feel a little bit less alone in how they voted. Not only can they see the polling distribution, so how many students are voting where, but they're also hearing their fellow students kind of talk through their own reasoning.
Well, I think it's the macroscopic momentum balance, because that's the only balance that has force in it, and force is pressure. It has pressure in it, so. Yeah.
Yes, so this is, I'm gonna tell you right now, you are not alone with the vast majority of the class. This is actually not the correct answer. Yes. Surprise! This is my villain origin story. Finally, something that I'm really happy about is that I'm getting to hear from a wider range of voices in my class. I noticed early on when I was doing more traditional style lectures, I would hear from, kind of a select few of more outgoing and often male students in my class. And I noticed that because students are getting more comfortable sharing ideas in small groups and then also hearing from their classmates as a whole, that I'm starting to hear from a lot more students in the class. I'm hearing from students from the front seats and in the back seats. I'm hearing from students who are usually more shy or have admitted to me that it's really hard for them to speak up in class. And I'm also hearing more from underrepresented voices in our major. So I'm hearing a lot more women wanting to contribute, and that makes me really happy and really proud.